Assalamu alaikum students. So today we are going to solve another HNMR spectrum and it is very simple. So now solve it. There is a spectrum which is there is a question. This is following are the NMR spectra of three isomeric esters, right? Three isomeric esters with the formula of C7H14O2 and all derived from propanoic acid. Provide a structure for each. So there are three spectrum and there are three isomeric form. So let's solve it. So this is the first spectrum and you can see here I have already discussed in the previous videos that to solve the simple HNMR spectrum we need molecular formula, IHD, फंक्शनल ग्रुप, फ्रेगमेंट्स को हम स्पेक्ट्रम की मदद से फ्रेगमेंट्स फाइंड करते हैं, देन फिर हम उन फ्रेगमेंट्स को कंबाइन कर लेते हैं. सो इट इज सिंपल ट्रिक, राइट? इफ यू हैव any HNMR spectrum and you have to find out the molecular formula, molecular structure by it. So what things you need first is the molecular formula. So molecular formula is usually given in the simple HNMR spectrum, right? Then you have to find out the IHD, right? I already discussed the IHD, how to find IHD, so you can watch those videos as well. And then we have to find out the functional group. Usually functional group is also given in simple HNMR spectrum. देन वी हैव अ फ्रेगमेंट्स, यानी कि ये जो हमारे पास स्पेक्ट्रम गिवन है इसकी मदद से हम जो है वो ईच पीक पे फ्रेगमेंट्स फाइंड करते हैं. देन फिर हम उस फ्रेगमेंट्स को कंबाइन कर लेते हैं तो इस तरह इजीली मॉलिक्यूल बन सकते हैं. अब देखिए मैं इसको सॉल्व करने जा रही हूँ. सबसे पहले मैं स्टार्ट करूँगी इस पीक से, ठीक है? सो यू कैन सी हियर there is 5.85 integral value. It means that there are around maybe 6 proton which are giving doublet, right? Which is doublet means क्या होता है कि there is one proton at the neighboring carbon, right? So you can see here this is basically this is CH3, right? And this is CH3. So 3 प्रोटॉन ये हैं और 3 प्रोटॉन ये हैं. दिस इज गिविंग डबलेट and this one is also giving doublet. Why? Because at the neighboring proton, at the neighboring carbon, this is at this carbon there is only one proton, right? So according to n+1 rule, one proton and add it 1, so it will be doublet, right? So it is simple. Then come to this one, so it is giving triplet, right? This is triplet and the integral value is 2.89. Integral value is 2.89. 2.89 means is almost 3, right? So means that there are 3 proton which are giving us triplet because the neighboring carbon contain 2 proton, right? So you can see here this is the okay, you can see here this is the carbon having 3 protons, right? And this carbon is giving this carbon is giving triplet due to this carbon. Why? This carbon contains 2 protons, right? So due to these hydrogen, it is giving us triplet. Next, move it. So you can see here there are basically 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. This is 6 set or 7. We can say the multiplet. Yeah, it's a multiplet, right? So how is it multiplet? So you can see here this carbon and you can see the value of integral. So it is around 1, which means that the one proton, this is one proton is giving us a multiplet. Why? Because there are 6 hydrogen, right, at adjacent. So 6 plus 1 is 7. So like we can see that we can say that it is multiplied. So move further, come to this. So you can see here it is giving quartet, which means uh, it is giving quartet and there are 2 protons, right? You can see here integral value is 1.92, which means this is almost 2. So there are 2 protons which are giving us what? Quartet, because the neighboring carbon contains what? 3 hydrogen. So 3 plus 1 is will be 4. So you can see here this is the carbon having 2 protons, and if these hydrogens are giving us what? These hydrogens are giving us quartet due to these 3 hydrogens. So it is very simple. Let's move to it. So you can see here it is giving again doublet and it is 1.97. so it is again this type of condition, right? So it could be this one, right? So you can see here this is CH2 attached to the carbon having a 1 proton. So this is giving us doublet due to this 1 proton. So you can see here. Okay, now what we have to decide it. Basically, you know very well that the ester means that carbonyl with oxygen, यानी कि C double O and R. Okay, so it is what? It is ester group. So you can see here uh, with this carbon there is a R group attached. It could be any group, right? And this is CH2, which is again attached to the R group. Now we have to decide the which group is attached with will O, and which group would be attached to the uh, carbonyl, right? So we have to decide. So it's, you can see here this group, basically this peak, right? So the chemical shift value is low here, so it would be attached to the carbonyl group. And this one because chemical shift value is high, so you can see here this CH2 would be attached to what? Oxygen, right? So now we got the fragments, right? Very simple, we got the fragments, and now we are going to attach these fragments and we will make the molecule. Alright, so you can see here that this DCH3, right, are due to this peak, right? Then this CH, this is in the blue, is due to here, right, this one. Then this CH2 will give what? It will give us doublet, right? And this is this one, right? Then come to here and you can see here this CH3 is giving us what? Triplet. So this one, second peak, and this CH2 will give us what? Quartet. So this one, right? So it is very simple. This is the basically structure, and you can see here it is the derivative of propanoic acid. So if you hydrolyze it, right, so what will happen? Hydroxyl group come and attach to this group and it will become what? Propanoic acid. So it means that it is product of what? It is product of propanoic acid plus isobutyl alcohol. So okay, let's quickly solve this spectrum. So you can see here there is triplet and the integral value is 2.97. 2.97 means there are 3 protons, which is giving us triplet, right? So there at the carbon there are 3 protons and at the adjacent carbon there would be 2 protons. So it is going to be fragment, right? So this is 3 protons, right? These are 3 protons, and these protons are giving us what? Triplet due to these 2 protons, right? Next move to it. So you can see here, so this is at 8.60, which means that it is around 9. So integral value is around 9, which means that there are 3 methyl groups, right, which is attached to the carbon which does not have any proton, right? So it is very simple to find out the fragment. So you can see here there are 3 methyl groups, right? So there are 9 protons. This proton is giving us singlet. This will give us singlet, and this will also give us singlet. So this carbon would be attached to the any R group. So next, move to next. So you can see here this is giving us quartet, and you can see here this CH3 means that these 3 protons were giving us what? It was giving us triplet, and now these 2 protons will give us what? Quartet due to these 3 protons, right? Now we have to decide what we have to attach, which carbon would be attached to oxygen and which carbon would be attached to the carbonyl, right? So you can see here the chemical shift value of this peak is 0, right? So which means that this carbon would be attached to the carbonyl group, and इसके मुकाबले में जो है वो इस वाली जो पीक है इसकी केमिकल शिफ्ट वैल्यू ज़्यादा है, which means that this carbon will be attached to the oxygen. So you can see here, right? Then this is going to be R. So this is one fragment obviously, and this is one other fragment. So we have to combine with this R group की जगह क्या हो जाएगा, ये इससे ज़्यादा अटैच हो जाएगा और हमारे पास जो है वो ये मॉलिक्यूल बनेंगे, ठीक है? तो बहुत ही सिंपल है, और मैंने देखो कितना क्विकली इसको जो है वो सॉल्व कर लिया है, इतना मुश्किल नहीं होता, बस आपको पीक्स के अकॉर्डिंग चलते रहे। आप फर्स्ट पीक का फ्रेगमेंट निकालें, फिर दूसरे का, तीसरे का, जब सारे फ्रेगमेंट्स आपके सामने आ जाएंगे तो उनको अटैच करना इतना मुश्किल नहीं होता, ठीक है? तो आप देख सकते हैं कि हमने जो है वो ये फर्स्ट हमारे पास डबलेट दिया इसने, राइट? इसने हमें क्वार्टेट दिया, सॉरी डबलेट नहीं ट्रिपलेट दिया, राइट? ये क्वार्टेट है, और फिर इन तीनों ने हमें क्या दिया? सिंगलेट दिया, राइट? So it is all. Yeah. So in this spectrum you can see here there are a lot of signals, right? So if there are more signals, so it is quite easy to solve the spectrum. So you can see here the first peak is giving us triplet, which means that there are 2 protons, right? So you can see here this is the basically one possibility. Then we will move further. So you can see here it is also giving us triplet, which means that there is another carbon having a proton, so having 2 protons, right? So next move to it. So you can see here it is giving us some 6 set, right? This is giving us what? 6 set, because you can see here this is the carbon having 2 protons, and at the neighboring carbon there are total 5 protons, right? So 3 protons this here, or 2 protons are here, so 3 and 2 will be 5, and 5 plus 1 would be 6, so it is giving us 6 set, right? Then move here, you can see here at this peak, so there this is basically pentate, or we can say quintet. We say in the spectrum that quintet means 5. So this is the carbon right, having 2 protons. These 2 protons are splitting into quintet due to these 2 protons, right? So at the neighboring carbon, you can see here 2 and 2 would be 4, and 4 plus 1 would be 5. So it is simple, right? Then move to here, and you can see here this is quintet, which means that at the neighboring carbon there are 3 protons, right? So you can see here this is the carbon, right, having 2 protons, and its neighboring carbon contains 3 protons, which means that this is giving us quintet, right? Next move to it, and you can see here this is giving us W. So we have two things के भाई ये जो है ना basically it is giving us W due to this one, right? And in the previous slides I have discussed that कि हम इसको how to attach, how we attach the carbonyl or oxygen, right? So it is depends on the chemical shift value, right? So you can see here the chemical shift value of this CH2 is less, so we will attach carbonyl here, and you can see here the chemical shift value of this CH2 is high, so we have to attach the oxygen here. Now we know that the ester group क्या होता है, ठीक है, हमें पता है easily, और हम पिछली स्लाइड्स में भी देख चुके हैं ester group. So क्या करना है, बस सिंपली ये ऑक्सीजन इस कार्बोनाइल से अटैच हो जाएगा, ठीक है, एंड बाकी फ्रेगमेंट्स क्या हो जाएंगे, ये तो एक साइड हमारी कंप्लीट हो गई है, ठीक है, दिस इज द प्रोपेनोइक एसिड का ये क्या है, डेरिवेटिव है, एंड बाकी ये अदर साइड है, तो CH2 and you can see here then CH3. So this is basically going to be a simple longer chain. So this is basically structure. So you can see here CH3 attached to CH2 and CH2 and CH2. So आप देख सकते हो कि ये वाला हमें देगा triplet, right? And it would give us 6 sets, and it will give us quintet, and it will give us triplet, right? And it will give us quartet, and this one will be triplet, right? So how many signals? 1 2 3 4 5 6. So 6 signals, 1 2 3 4 5 6, right? So very simple. Okay, this is another HNMR spectrum. So this is basically another problem. So you can see here the question is the two isomeric compounds. These are there are two isomers, right, with the formula of C10H40. It means that this is totally hydrocarbon having carbon and hydrogen, right? There is no other functional groups. Have NMR spectra shown here. Make no attempt to interpret the aromatic proton area between 7.1 7.3 ppm except to determine the number of protons attached to the aromatic ring. Draw the structure of the isomers. So in the spectrum you can see here it is already mentioned that the in between 7 to 7.5. So if there is a signal between the 7 to 7.5, so it is basically aromatic ring, right? So it is mentioned already and it is aromatic ring. So means that the 6 carbon तो हमारे हो गए कि भाई वो aromatic ring है, यानी कि बेंजीन हो सकती है या कुछ भी, ठीक है. बाकी रह गए हमारे पास पीछे 4. सो हम उसको देख लेते हैं. एंड fortunately there are 4 peaks, so it is going to be very simple to solve. So 2.9 integral value is 2.9, which means that 3, and this 3 hydrogen, these 3 hydrogens giving us triplet, which means that the neighboring carbon contains 2 protons, right? So basically these are the 3 protons giving us what, triplet due to these two protons, right? Then move to it, and you can see here there are 3 protons, right? Integral value is 3 again, and these 3 protons are giving us doublet, right? Which means that this carbon having 3 protons would be attached to the carbon having only 1 proton, right? So let's see. So you can see here these are the 3 proton which is attached to the carbon, right, having 1 proton. So this is giving us doublet due to this carbon, right? Let's move further, and this is I think quintet, right? And the integral value is 2.15. 2.15 means there must be 2 protons, and it is giving us quintet, means that at the neighboring carbon there would be around 4 protons, right? So let's see. So this is the one possibility, right? Basically this is the proton having 2 hydrogen, and this proton is basically attached to the carbon having 2 protons here and 1 proton here. So it is 3 and no, there must be something wrong. Basically 2 proton, and it would be 2 protons, so the 2 and 2 is 4 and 1 plus is quintet, right? But the other possibility is कि हमारे पास other possibility क्या है कि this one is CH2 basically, right? And this is attached to the carbon having 3 and 1 proton, right? So 3 and 1 is 4, and 4 and 1 is 5, right? So it will be quintet, right? Then move to this peak, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It is, I think it's 6, right? So you can see here this proton, right? This CH, which in red. So this red proton is giving us the signal of what? 6s. Why? Because at the neighboring carbon there are 3 protons and 2 protons. So 3 and 2 would be 5, and 5 and 1 plus would be 6. So it is giving us 6s, right? We already know that the 7 to 7.5 around in this region got the aromatic ring, right? So this is aromatic ring, and this is basically what this is the monosubstituted ring. And in the next some lectures we will discuss how to find out how can we find out that it is monosubstituted, disubstituted, or trisubstituted. So we will discuss this later, but now it is in this it is monosubstituted, right? Now what we have to do, we will attach the fragments only, right? So it is very simple. तो CH3 attach over CH2 के साथ, and obviously this CH2 would be attached to this CH, right? This CH2 would be attached to this CH, right? So and this R group की जगह क्या आ जाएगा हमारे पास? बेंजीन रिंग आ जाएगी. So this CH would be attached to benzene ring, right? So let's see. So you can see here this CH3, CH2, and then CH and CH3. So this is the fragment, right? So this will attach now to this, and we will finally got this structure, right? So very simply you can see here there are total 5 signals, and you can see here the 1, 2, 3 and 4, and the 5th signal obviously of benzene's proton, right? So this is all about this, and now check to the second isomer of it. So this is the second isomer, and you can see here basically you can see here that The integral value is 5.10, which means that there are 5 protons in the benzene ring, right? So which means that it is going to be more substituted. So let us start from here. The integral value is 2.98, which means that there are 3 protons, and you can see here the peak. So it is giving us triplet, which means that at the neighboring carbon there are 2 protons, right? So you can see here this is basically CH3, which is giving us triplet due to these 2 protons, right? Next move here, and you can see here this is basically 6 step, right? And there are 2 protons, right? 2.06 integral value here, which means that there are 2 protons, and these 2 protons are giving us 6 step. Why? Because there are 3 protons and there are 2 protons, so 3 and 2 would be um, uh, 5, and 5 plus 1 would be 6, right? And this is basically integral value 2.06, which means that there are 2 protons, and these 2 protons attached to the carbon having 4 protons, because it is giving us quintet, right? This piece is basically quintet. There are 5, right? So let's see. So you can see here this is basically CH2, which is attached to the carbon having total 4 protons, right? So it has 2 protons and having 2 protons, so 2 and 2 would be 4, and 4 plus 1 would be 5, which means that's quintet. Let's move here and see it. So you can see the 2.14 is the integral value, which means that there are 2 protons, and these 2 protons is giving us around it is triplet, right? So this is basically triplet. So you can see here this is CH2, right? And this CH2 is attached to the CH2, which is giving us triplet, right? So now we have to decide. ओके बेंजीन रिंग का तो आपको पता है कि 7 to 7.5 के दरमियान अगर सिग्नल आ रहा है तो दिस इज बेंजीन रिंग और एरोमेटिक. So you can see here I have attached these all fragments, so I got this fragment, right? So you can see here this is CH2, CH3, CH2, CH2 and CH2. Now this CH2 is going to attach here, right? So we combine all the fragments and we got the structure, which is this. So this is the another isomer of this example.